parts of the world, from eastern side around the Jewish countries, around Egypt, and some from the west. But eventually, when they discovered
Good morning and welcome. My name is Ori and I'm here with someone very important to discuss the origin of Ehugbo. Considering the stance that a lot of us have lost touch with our place, our people and our culture, we have taken our time to bring this to you so you can connect with your roots. And this morning we are with the incredible Chief Gabriel Agbo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my child.
Morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
I'm very well. So, Daddy, I very Naimari, what the Ehugbo people are made up of, our origin, to be precise. Ibaihi, ihe mere na ya zande Ehugbo. Onye mere ya bụrụ ndị Ehugbo. What makes up Ehugbo generally?
The questions you are raising, there's a lot of connections. I think we'll start with migration, how we came to be. Oral history tell us that the people, three movements. Be historians yourself, the development, the settlement movement is not just one generation, it's not two, it's spread over a number of places. And the people migrate from one place to the other. Along the way, they keep on accumulating and maybe having people joining them, having people dying away. We're told that where we now call and know as Ehugbo, anglicized Afikpo, made up of three groups of people. The first set were the people they called the Ego group. The Ego group, they came and all of them were told came from various parts of the world, from eastern side and around the Jewish countries, around Egypt, and some from the west. But eventually, when they did come, the Egos came and settled where we now look at as the northern part of this place. From here where we are, Amizu is a part of where Ego settled, down to after Mata, then going towards Ameta area. That's why you get down there, you have Uhu Ego. Then here is Ubu Ego. They settled here. When they settled, then Isunkalo came in his own group and settled around where you have the present Noyankalo, towards the cross, towards where we call Otueke, or what is generally known now as Mdibe Beach. But the original name is Otueke, and then what Mdibe Beach came to be. So Isunkalo settled there, the present Noyankalo. The third one, who was a more fierce fighter, Igbo, a warlord, came after Ego and Isunkalo had settled. He came and found his own area around where we call Orogoro, near Amobolobo, in Bogoro group of villages. That Orogoro is still existing. Orogoro, near Amobolobo. That's where Igbo came. Igbo, when he came there, he settled. Since he was desired at that time, might was right. So he had to fight, so he had to subdue the people he met to bring them under his fold. So eventually, we're not going to go into the details of the war. But he, first of all, faced Ego and fought with them and got them scattered. Some ran down to Aziza, others ran to other places. And history and information tell us that where you have anything you have as Ishiago, Obiago, Nkwego, all these things having ego and around the Abakaliki area are supposed to be people who flee from this particular place and stay there. After getting rid of the egos, after subjugating the egos, then he turned over to Isunkalo. He also had to subjugate Isunkalo, and some of the Isunkalo groups ran over to Amasiri. And then when they were looking, they said, "Oh, Ibendi Amasiri." They got there, and then to other places, and some ran to other places, and eventually, I said, to cut a very long story short, when he had subjugated all of them, then he said, "All right, no more wars. We must make peace." And at that particular time, Ehugbo had a daughter called Orete Imomo, who was married to somebody in Ezuku, Amizu. When they got settled there, then that Orete Imomo was the daughter of Igbo, and she was the first woman, we understand, who performed Olariwe. And it was through her too that we have Orie Amizu. It was through her we had this Orie Amizu. So when she settled there, and eventually when they wanted to make peace, all right, Igbos, the people from Aegu, people from Isunkalo, you come, let us make peace. He chose Amizu first as a place the daughter was living, and then two, he looked at it at that time as being more central. From there, it was after that time, the meeting they were going to, that Ama Izu arose as a group. This is a place where people from around this place come to meet, and until recently, that is a meeting place for all Ehugbo. Up to date, if they say Ehugbo wants to meet, if I'm talking of old Afikpo division, which includes where we call now Ebonyi South, the meeting place is here, Okpota. And in fact, it was at Okpota that the first pronouncement of Ebonyi was made by Dr. Kanebian. So it has continued to be a place for general meeting for all people around this place. It was because they made peace and settled it at Okpota. The dog what they call achapoto, they had all the concoctions, bring this. They buried it down. If you go to Gamizu, there's one small effigy. Akpa is there occasionally. They dress it in white. So that's where they buried the pot of peace in Amizu. That's the Okpota, and up to today, that Okpota remains a place. It was a place where peace was reunited in the whole of Ehugbo. That's why we have that. It was after that time now they said, okay, if you brought any customs with you or anything along with you, you may retain it, but know that you are living here in my name, Ehugbo. It is that Ehugbo that has metamorphosed into Ehugbo. That's how we have Ehugbo. You are living here in my name. So Ehugbo turned to be Ehugbo. That's how we inherited that. Perhaps you will know that about the late 60s or so, there were some archival findings by Hattel and Ngozi at Ezuku Okpa, and then somewhere at Yonriken and Uwegu area, to find out that 350 years before Christ was born, people were already living, settled in Ehugbo. 3,500 years before Christ was born. That means over 5,000 years ago, people were already settled. That's why Ehugbo raised with Soka and then the other one in Anambra. So that's how, briefly, how they got settled there to call that settlement. After that time, no more war, intertribal war within Ehugbo, after having got the name Ehugbo. So gradually, then they had to fashion out the rotatory traditional culture, traditional calendar, which goes on to talk of Eke, Ori, and Ko, and so on. That's the most I can just say roughly how we came to be answering Ehugbo.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, considering the fact that you have explained Ihemeri, Ainaz, and Ehugbo, what now brought about the tag Afikpo people?
Afikpo, ordinarily when strangers come or visitors, Afikpo, the white man that I met, who taught us in primary school and in secondary schools, and we met as GOs and so on, they couldn't pronounce FKP because of the language thing. You can't get an English person talking of Ehugbo, Ehugbo, Afikpo. Even Eda up to today still refer to you as Ndafigbo. Others may call you Ndafigbo, not even Afikpo. It's a question of cultural distinct, what we call provincialism when you go the way people speak about certain things. Because you go around Anambra area, they can't pronounce ruler, they say ruler. Ruler, up to today, they have to tell ruler. So that type of a thing is how people come. But the name is Ehugbo. So all of other people is anglicized. And then today, if you talk about people, you are talking of two things. Either the truncated, not truncated, but the misspelled or misspoken Afikpo. Then the other one is local government area, Afikpo. When you are thinking of Afikpo local government, you are thinking of Akpoha, you are thinking of Amasiri, you are thinking of Mwana, you are thinking of the Ehugbo, and you have Afikpo local government.
Okay.
That's how you talk about it. But if you talk of Ehugbo,
people settle in this
don't talk of Afikpo. So that's just that about Afikpo and then Ehugbo.
Okay.
It's a corrupt one of it, but the main one is Ehugbo, which is Ehugbo.
Okay. So, who can we relate to? That say that he is the ancestral father of Ehugbo.
Well, they are claimed, the one person who are claimed on Oburucham, you wouldn't say so. Because before the Igbo came, people were already living here. But he came and dominated. But now he has conquered. It's a question of an acclaimed founder of Ehugbo is Ibuku. The acclaimed one, because of power of arms. He has to subdue them, and they said he brought them under the envelope of one name. Before then, there were only settlements. It was after the conqueror of Igbo that this place called Ehugbo was ever known as a place. There were only settlements all over people, but there was not one name. So that's why every village has its own founder. So when you talk of Ehugbo as a whole, we always refer to Igbo Ukwu as the acclaimed founder of Ehugbo. Not that he settled them, but he subdued them and then brought him under his fold.
Wow, Papa, thank you so much. Thank you. But again, if we go and you talked about how the foreigners that came had influenced the pronunciation and how people know us. So, what other thing did the foreigners, what else could be referred to as the Western influence on the Ehugbo people, on how we do things, on how we see ourselves generally?
Incidentally, in this, I think 2002, when we were all members of the Afikpo Today team, we went into some research and found out that by December 1902, I think about 28 or so, the white men overran Ehugbo through Iyoka, leading to, after Ibiam, going towards Mana, Iyoka War, 1902. When they came, and conquered Ehugbo as a group. Then they came in and established their own government. When they arrived, at that particular time, the headquarters of this side was at Obubra, and I think Obubra in the Cross River. So they transferred it to Afikpo. They call it Afikpo. They transferred it to that place and brought to this place. So it was called Afikpo Division. Afikpo Division included what we know as Old Afikpo Division, is what is recently called Eboy South Senatorial District. Where every place where you call Eboy South was the old Afikpo Division when we were in the primary school in the 1940s. We know Kumoro, Abomege, Hosora, Igbo, Itigiti, Erei. We still school together as Afikpo Division, Old Afikpo Division. So that's when they came now. When I'm talking about, when you talk about the influence. So we have what we call the gains and pains of British colonization. 1 century of British occupation of Ehugbo. What you have got, what you have lost. So that's that. When they came here in 1902, certainly they have influenced us in a number of ways. We can't just wave it, take it away by a wave of the hand. But they have certainly done that, and it was when they were already here. Then about 1911 or 1913, 1911/1913, the Presbyterian CSM came at that particular as a church. Then 1914, they made an attempt, Catholics made an attempt to settle at St. Patrick's in Dibe. But the custom frustrated them. 2 years they ran away, the Catholics. They come back more permanently in 1935 and established at Ugokite at Ngodo, where you now call Ngoda Amachi Primary School. It was a burial ground for these other people. They gave them that place. They established the primary school. So that time they established. They were just. I was just about 3 years old when they established it. I'm told I was born 1933. So the Catholic Church came in 1935. So I was already here before they came. They established. That's a missionary. Missionaries were coming, the white people, the government, colonial masters were coming. All of them were white. Both the missionaries and the colonial masters were all white. So that's why we made them at that particular time. So the influence has been enormous. If we go to enumerate them, it will take a whole day. So they certainly have influenced us. Like I said, one of these volumes of Afikpo today contains the details of the British invasion of Ehugbo, and one book written by Raphael Sika. So he dealt in details about the British occupation of Ehugbo from that 1902 till 1960 October, when they apparently left us. But they have still not completely left us in so many ways.
Thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you. I appreciate this. So, Ehugbo, just to wrap up what we have already discussed with you, what do you have to say to people who have lost touch of the root?
What you say? What will I do?
What you have to say to people who have lost touch of the root, considering that we are trying to bring back what we must have lost and information that is already slipping out of our hands?
I will first of all appeal to the young ones who are growing to be interested in knowing your past. First, interest. It's not a question of dismissing it with a wave of the arm on the beach on the old, this is no longer their time. Then you sweep it out. But unfortunately, most of the people who say that have not gone, sometimes some of them haven't gone beyond the Eboy State or eastern region, not to talk of Nigeria, but they will be the people to condemn. But you go there, some of us who have had opportunity of traveling outside this country will know that in their own area, they still have things that are natural with them. When they want to build, if you go to the US, you have most of the towns under trees. But here we begin by cutting down all the trees. It has been fetish. You damage all of them. Yet most of the things we met here are now in some libraries in the US, in the UK, and so on. So if we develop interest, first of all, to know that those things mean something. If you get interested and wanting to go a little bit, where by the grace of God, some of us who were nearer them are still alive, maybe we can still get a little bit of it. But certainly we can never go down. Yes. We can never go back there. Because I knew where you could not ride a bicycle up to this place. I was among the group who cut the road between here and Ehugbo, so that vehicles would pass. 1958 we cleaned that one. There was no car that could get up to this place before 1958. There was no road. You have to move left, right. From here to that place. So that's just it. So you can't go all the hog. But certainly if first interest to know, let me find who I am, who my parents were, how they lived, why they lived that way. If they get interested, yes, that's the one thing. And two, develop more interest in reading what others have written. Some of us cannot now read. I don't know, the phone, handset, has its own. Like any coin, it has bad and good. Spellings have gone. No, also SMS. Writing of essays, how do people write it again? Because now it is a question of if you want to write you, it is you. Okay, anybody can form his or her own abbreviation. It has no system. It's what you think about. How you use it, others will think that's not what it is and adopt it. So when they first of all get interested in knowing who they are, making investigation, they will be on the right way to know some of the things that are very useful that we have lost. We have gained something quite alright. I say there are pains and gains. We've got some, call it civilization in quote, but we have lost our culture, generally.
Thank you, sir. You have heard it yourself. So whatever you decide to do with this information, you wanted me to say it's up to you. No, it's up to all of us. Take charge and connect back to the roots. Thank you. Okay.
From various parts of the world, from eastern side and other Jewish countries, around Egypt, and some from the west. But eventually, when they did